ability to write and express ourselves. We should all have the ability to express ourselves. And the God has given us a gift in the form of ability to write. We can convey our thoughts across globe through the ability to write. This is an amazing gift. I would consider writing a better gift than speaking, because you cannot change while you are speaking. It is uneditable. But in written communication, you can edit it, review it, revise it, and then present it to the world. So you can become very careful. You can become very conscious. You can ensure that you are able to present to the world the best of your thoughts. The best of your thoughts. You use your pen to transform the world, bring about greater happiness across the globe, bring about greater prosperity in the world, influence policymakers through your writing to change this world. Yes, you all can influence the world with your writing skills. We must remember that there are some people organized poverty labs and wrote extensively on issues of poverty, and they got Nobel Prize because they took really important themes. There are some people who took the pen to raise a voice against nuclear weapons, and they got Nobel Prize. There are some people who use the pen to bring greater peace and prosperity. They got the Nobel Prize. We must remember Muhammad Yunus, who used his power to write, to communicate, to connect people, to organize people, to end the poverty of the world, to end the deprivations, and to bring greater entrepreneurship, greater opportunities for common people. He got the Nobel Prize. So use the pen. Yes, pen is the most powerful thing that you have in your hand to transform this world. I request all of you to use the pen. Start by writing very simple things. You start with just popular articles. You can start by writing for a newspaper, a letter to the editor. You can start by writing a letter to the editor and move on slowly and steadily, right? Move on slowly and steadily towards writing more and more important papers, publications that can help you in transforming the world. Remember, let the data speak. You are writing, pen is yours, but the most important thing is you have to introduce data in your writing. You have to remember there is a lot of difference between a very concerned and careful writer and a very casual writer. A casual writer just expresses his emotions, but a very concerned and careful writer picks out data, analyzes the data, and presents the data and helps the world in understanding the reality based on the data. If you bring out the truth before the world in a very well articulated manner, you are respected. There are three important aspects that must always be reflected in whatever you are writing. One is reliability. If you present something, it should be reliable. What is the meaning of reliability? Reliability means that if something is mentioned by you, it can also be checked and verified by anybody else. Yes, if you say that this is sun and it is of yellow color, other people can also check it and they can find, yes, it is of yellow color. Or if you say this is moon and this is a white color, and yes, other people can also check it and they can find, yes, it is of white color. So reliability. Bring greater and greater reliability in your content, and then bring greater and greater validity. Validity means ensuring that if you are using any word, any context, any any technical word, or any technical specification, that should be connected to some valid sources, whereby the meaning, the context leaves no scope for confusion, no scope for any misunderstanding. That is validity. So, reliability, validity, these are two fundamental things along with generalizability. Generalizability means if you're writing something, is that which can be applicable across the globe? If you are writing something, is that something which can be applicable on people from different backgrounds, different contexts? So that is generalizability. If you are writing that, okay, poverty can be removed through these 5 steps, can those 5 steps be used in other countries in the same context? Then we can say, yes, it is generalizability. So when you are writing, bring greater and greater 3 things. What are the 3 things? Reliability, validity, and generalizability. Well, these 3 are fundamental things that you have to add to your writing, so that whatever you write is something which is able to create an impact on the world. The world is able to appreciate, because if you write something that is reliable, valid, and generalizable, well, obviously the world is going to appreciate you. The world will like to read you. You are able to influence the world if world would like to read, what would like to share your content. And then, see, we have found people have a tendency and a desire to share what is really important. If you write something which is really important, people would like to share it more and more, and that will enable you to express to the entire world. In academics, we have slight limitations. The uh, most fundamental thing is that knowledge should be free, but it is not so. My own personal belief is knowledge should be free. Knowledge should be, I mean, we should all be free to share any knowledge. This is my personal belief. But then we must also respect IPRs. IPR means the laws related to patent, laws related to copyright, laws related to intellectual properties. So intellectual property related laws we must always remember, and they are very important. So we have to follow all of them. Now, what those laws tell? Those laws tell us that we cannot, use material prepared by somebody else without obtaining any written permission from that person. Therefore, if Mr. X and Y has written an article, and I want to share that with you, I cannot do it unless I take consent from them. So we cannot do that. This is a fundamental intellectual property related law. We must all remember it. So before you start your journey to become a writer, you must all familiarize yourself with fundamental intellectual property laws. That means you cannot copy any line even from any other person. If you want to mention that so and so has done it, then give due reference and write in your own language that so and so person, name, year, yes, he has given these thoughts. He undertook a research. All these things you have to write in your own language. Remember, all these things you have to write in your own language. Don't try to copy and paste any material from any other person. Many people think that I can put inverted comma and copy paste anything. If it is inverted comma, I am not responsible. No, you cannot do it. You have to write in your own language only. You cannot copy paste any material from any other person without taking permission. And since obtaining permission is complicated, difficult, therefore better to avoid all these things. You should always write in your own language. The research departments of all the universities across the globe give very clear guidelines that you have to write everything original. Don't copy paste anything. No university accepts more than 10-15% of plagiarism, more than 10-15% of copying. No university. I mean, therefore, you remove this thought from your mind. No 10, no 15, nothing. Keep 0% in your mind. That I am not going to copy any material from any other source. It will be 100% my own creation. Everything that I write will be my own creation. 0% copy. That is the thought that you have to start with, so that later on you do not face any problem. If I show you any content here, any book, any content here, I am violating the copyright law, because as per the copyright law, I have to take permission from the author before using, before copying, before in any way I am using their study, their content. Therefore, I should avoid these things, and you should also remember these fundamental principles. Be very clear, and there should not be any confusion on this principle. And this is fundamental also, because if you make a lot of hard work, write your articles, prepare articles, and it is very good article, but it is rejected by the publisher because it is against the basic fundamental principle, you have violated the plagiarism law. Plagiarism is illegal, and therefore don't do any such activity. So write original things in your own language, in your own context. It is not necessary that you have to really fill in a lot of bulky. If I get some students saying that, look, sir, I have to write 300-page PhD thesis, and I cannot do all these things. I have to copy. So please permit me to copy paste. But I ask them, who told you that you have to write a thesis of 300 pages? There is no such law. The law only says you have to write original. You have to bring original thing. You have to give original contribution to the field of knowledge. Who says that you have to write 300 pages? No, there is no such law, no such guideline. Therefore, remember, the most important thing is your original contribution. You have to create something original, something fresh, some new knowledge which is available to the world for the first time. This is the fundamental law. Then how do you start it? The most important beginning, the most important principle to start your research and academic journey is you should take up an issue which is really important, really significant. Undertake preliminary research. Various types of publications are possible. You can write an article, you can write a review paper, you can write a case study, you can write a monograph, you can write a detailed research study, you can write different things. So many options are available before you. You can write a travelogue. So many options are there, and there is no limit. Endless possibilities are there. So how do you start? I generally recommend researchers to start with a review paper. That is the first paper that you get published. So let me explain to you what exactly is a review paper. See, whenever you start research, anywhere in any university, your research supervisor asks you to read at least 50, 60 good quality research papers on a theme. They'll ask you, what is the theme on which you really want to work? Suppose you say, sir, I really want to work on the theme of how to end poverty of the world. Then they will ask you, okay, pick up 50 research papers focused on this theme, read them, and write a summary of them in your own language. I remember my research days. I went to my supervisor, my guide, my mentor, Professor Gupta Sahab, and he told me, asked me, what is the theme on which you want to write? What is the theme on which you want to undertake research? Then I said something related to social development through entrepreneurship, because that was my dream. I did not know whether I would be able to do it or not, but that was a broad theme on which I wanted to work. Then my mentor gave me a bundle of cards, which had about 300 cards, blank cards. See, so he gave me blank cards. In those days in IIM Ahmedabad, they used to, every mentor supervisor used to give a bunch of blank cards. You take this card, use one card for one research paper. And his PA was Matthew. So he called Matthews. Matthews came, and Professor Gupta told Matthews that give him those compilation of research papers, give him those files to him, and let us see after 15-20 days if he brings cards back to me. So Matthews then explained to me how I have to proceed further. I was thinking it's a very simple task, but when I started, oh my God, was initially it was very boring task. I had to sit silently in the library continuously whole day, sometimes even late night, reading each research papers carefully, cautiously, properly. And on the card, I had to write in my own hand and writing name of the article that I read, who wrote that article, what was the main summary of that article that I am able to understand. One card, one paper. In that way, I had to prepare. So 300 cards were given to me. So initially I thought it is an easy task, I'll do it. But then when I started, it was taking too much of time. I was taking almost 3 hours, 3 to 4 hours in reading one paper. 3 to 4 hours without moving, just continuously reading. I was taking 3 to 4 hours in reading one paper. And I was worried, how will I complete this work? And this was the first task. So the first task was that I completed was preparing these cards. When these cards were filled, completely ready, I carried all those cards, punched, packed to my mentor. That, look, this is the work that I had given to me. I have completed this work. Now then the next task was to prepare a review paper. So now I am coming to you, research review paper. So what is a review paper? Review paper is something that you should always start with. A review paper is a literature review, you can say. What do? You read a large number of research papers, prepare their summary, analyze them, put them in proper context, prepare a table of their analysis, find out the missing links, what should be the areas where research should be started, what should be done. All those things you write down and prepare your article. And this is published. It is publishable. So you send it for publication. in any journal which publishes review papers. So this is here. Now review paper has a lot of plus points. First plus point is, when you are writing research papers, you don't have to do any research. So still, because you are still learning research, you are still learning data analysis methodologies, you are still learning all those things. So therefore, no problem. You don't have to do any research. Is the first plus point. Second, by preparing a review paper, you develop a very good understanding of the subject. You come to know about the scope of the subject, what other people are doing, how they are doing, what is their contribution. So while you are preparing a review paper, you develop a fairly good understanding on the subject under study. This is the second plus point. The third advantage that review paper offers is also very important, so I'll also mention about that. The third big, and this is the biggest advantage that you will have, is that the review papers have very high citations. Very high citations. So if you write a review paper and get it published, large number of people will give reference of your paper, because anybody who is starting PhD on similar topic, anybody who is starting doctoral research or PG research on similar topic will definitely consult your publication. Your review paper will definitely be consulted by everybody. So it will have a very high citation. So this is a very big plus. There are many other advantages, but these three are very important. So remember, writing a research paper will help you tremendously. So this is your starting point. Most of the researchers are a little bit confused in the beginning. They start with very giant goals, big objectives, and when they end up doing research, they start realizing that it's not easy, and then they want to change their research topic. I have found a large number of researchers changing their topics in between. They come to their supervisor and tell, look sir, data is not available, this is not available, this is not practical, this research methodology is, I cannot do this thing, that thing. All those things are part of life. But in review paper, all these problems don't appear. Because in review paper, you have to look at a bunch of research papers where research has already been undertaken by somebody else. You are reading that paper, you are summarizing that, and from that you are preparing a review paper. So that is, with that way, a review paper is a very good starting point. And then by the time you finish your research review paper, your next task will start. You will have to face DRC, you will have to prepare your methodology, you have to prepare. So as you proceed ahead, you keep on writing also. Your research work will take still a long time. Research work will obviously a long time process. So I'll not talk about research papers right now. But one thing on which you can start working is the methodology part. The second paper that you can think about writing is about methodology part. And if you can write something on research methodology part, it can also be very good contribution from your side. I have seen a large number of research scholars writing. I also introduced a new research method when I was trying to do my doctoral research. So I was using participant observation method research, using qualitative tools and exploratory methods of study. Now, these methods that we use are very flexible, and a lot of possibilities of innovations are possible. And if you can undertake a thorough study about a research method, possibilities of innovations, possibilities of undertaking new methodology, there is a possibility that you can write a paper on that also. Because, see, I'll just tell you briefly how is your research journey takes place. The research journey starts first, you pick up a broad theme that this is what I want to do as part of my research. For example, you have taken up a theme that I want to undertake a research on how to end poverty. And I will be using something like a poverty lab, a kind of experimental research, and try to prepare my findings and share those findings with the world leaders, policymakers, so that it helps policymakers in taking the right steps towards ending the poverty. So you prepare your research journey. The first thing is your broad outline, then you undertake literature review, and then you narrow down and focus on your research objective. You decide about exact research objective that you want to achieve. Thereafter, you prepare your research hypothesis if you have an hypothesis. So you write down your hypothesis, then you prepare your research methodology, your sample size, your sampling plan, your data collection methodologies, data analysis methodology, and you undertake discussion on all these things with your mentors and other researchers and give them sharpened look. Then you actually undertake your data collection, analyze the data, present those findings with experts, have a lot of discussions, and ultimately you prepare your model, research model. And this research model or research theory is your contribution to this world. And you deserve to be awarded a PhD on the basis of your contribution. This is your research journey. And each of these steps in the research journey have a potential to contribute something in the form of research and publication. You can publish at each of these steps. In the first step, when you are just exploring this subject, you can write, one paper, which can be conceptual paper. Conceptual paper could be something like poverty, the fundamental issues regarding poverty. So it can be a conceptual paper where you discuss how poverty should be addressed, what are the major issues with regard to poverty. So something like that can be the beginning. This is conceptual paper. So one paper you can publish at this stage. Then literature review. You can publish literature review based review paper. So review paper, conceptual paper, these two papers you can publish in the beginning, like in the first 1 year of your research. So these two are your first two contributions. And then as you delve into research methodology, you can get one paper published on research methodology that you are going to, the research method that you are going to undertake. You can undertake that publication. And then you can undertake your research and get, once your research data is ready, your research work is complete, then you can get another paper published on research findings and all those things. And later on, if some experimental inputs come, some additional inputs come, you can then again go for one more publication. So through your all these steps, how many research papers you can publish during your doctoral research? One is conceptual paper, one is review paper, one is paper on research method, one is paper on your experiments, and one paper you can get on your findings. And so, I mean, about 4 or 5 papers you can get published during your research journey. And this will be great contribution from your side. 4 or 5 papers during your research journey. You can get them published. Now, let us understand it from a hypothetical example. Rather than hypothetical example, I'll give you a real example. I'll give you an real example of my own, my research scholar. My research scholar, her name is Shipra. So Shipra Bhardwaj started research on emotional intelligence of doctors. She was having an idea in her mind that there is a need to study the emotional IQ of doctors, their stress level, how they manage their stress, and all those things. So she thought, why not start? So the first step that she did was she reviewed some 50 research papers, and based on that, she prepared her review paper. So this was her first outcome. Then she decided about the methodology. She thought of using Likert type scale. So she thought of developing her own Likert type scale. But then I cautioned that there will be question of validity. If you develop your own scale, how will you ensure that validity? I mean, the question of reliability, validity will come, and by the time you check the reliability, validity of your scale, it will be too late. Then I suggested her that why don't you use some existing validated scales, and also you develop your own scale and compare the findings, and that will help you in ensuring the reliability, validity of your own skills. So she then searched on internet about available skills and took permission from those who had developed those skills and used those skills in our research. Now, in this way, what happened? What she did was that she used available skills. There are plenty of skills that are available. So she had another research paper about how to use Likert type scale in measuring emotional intelligence. So another skill was there. Another paper was ready in that way. And she developed her own scale and used her own skills along with the already available skills, compared their findings and presented the findings. Now she developed 2 skills on her own, and these 2 skills were compared with the already available skills, So the question of reliability, validity was solved here, because if someone says that, look, if I say this is, just a minute, if I say this is of 1 kilogram, now you may ask, it doesn't have reliability and validity. How do you compare it? Now, I go to the market, purchase 1 kg standard measurement tool, which is already certified, validated, reliable, bring it, and compare this with that, and say, look, it is having same weight as that. Now the question is, it's having now reliability? Yes. It's having validity? Yes. Because we have compared it with a standard tool. This is so simple. And in this way, I can develop a new tool. Yes. And the question of reliability and validity, the problem of reliability, validity are solved? Yes, solved. So Shipra did this work and then started collecting data and analyzed the data and then presented her findings. And based on the findings, again, she got one more paper published. And the total research process enabled her to publish some 3-4 papers. And even today, every day she gets a lot of requests from people from across the globe to give permission to use her scale, to give permission to use her scale and to understand from her how to develop a new scale, what kind of challenges can come, and how to overcome the challenges of liability and validity. Every day she gets this kind of research. So that's, I just wanted to explain to you in very simple, I just briefly again tell you what I just wanted. I've been telling you that your research journey starts with identification of theme. And thereafter, as you proceed ahead, you have an opportunity. You can write one conceptual paper, get it published. Conceptual paper is a broad understanding of the concept. Then you can write and publish a review paper wherein you are reviewing the research papers already published in that field. And then you have an opportunity to write on a new tool that you are developing, a new instrument that you are developing. And then you, as you collect data, analyze data, and share with the world, you have another opportunity to get another paper published on your research findings. So this is a sequence. This is how you are able to get one after another paper published. So simple. So research process enables you to publish in different context, in different. I wish all of you should get published across all these platforms. Now, how should you start actually? When you are reading a journal, in every journal, there is a guideline for author. In every journal, there is a guideline for the author. You should download that guideline for the author and read it very carefully, every line. That will make you clear what are the specific requirements. If you have to publish your paper in that journal, what you should remember, how should you remember. Today, every journal has an online platform. You have to prepare your research article or research paper, upload it on their portal. You have to first create your own email, your own registration, your own ID is created. Using your ID, you have to upload your research paper. Then your research paper is sent for review. There are two types of reviews. One is called blind review. In a blind review, you do not know who is going to review your paper. So your paper is sent to somebody else who reviews your paper. The person who is reviewing your paper also doesn't know who has written this paper. You do not know who is reviewing your paper, and the person who is reviewing your paper also do not know who has written this, right? So the paper, your paper is sent to somebody for review in a blind review. Generally, the journals send it to two persons for review, blind review. Sometimes the journals may ask you, if they don't have the policy of blind review, then they may ask you that why don't you suggest us a few names of a few scholars whom we can contact for review. So you write down their names, their email ID, their contact numbers, their consent to be reviewer. The journal will send your paper to them for review, and they will send their comments, and based on that, journal will decide whether to publish your paper or not. Right? So when you send your paper to a journal, the journal will send it to some other person to review your paper. The reviewer will write his comment in a prescribed format, give score. Based on that, the journal will again check the content, check the reviewer's report, and will decide. And the journal will again then undertake its internal review for grammatical error and other things, prepare a proof, send the proof to you to check and approve. If you check and approve the proof, then the journal will again publish it. The journal will publish in its journal and share with you the link. Now, once your paper is published in a journal, you deserve a big award. I mean, your first paper is published. You should feel happy. You should feel, pride. Because your thoughts are now spreading across the globe. You are able to influence the world. People are now reading what you have written. Right? If your journal is very popular, then you will have a good impact factor. A lot of people will start citing your paper. So this is how your academic progress will start. And this is one of the way in which you can start contributing to this world. So before you start writing, what should you do? First, before you start writing, first step that you have to do is reading. Read a journal. Read a journal. Read other papers. What is their tone? What is their focus? What is their overall writing style? What is their overall presentation style? Go through them. Read carefully guidelines for the author. Every journal has it. And what else you should do? You should prepare yourself in very meticulously checking the paper that you have written. Everything, the structure, the grammar, the context, the overall flow, and also ensure that you have done referencing properly. Proper referencing style has been used. What is referencing style? What is referencing? In writing a research paper, if you want to say that, okay, in 1990, somebody had undertaken so and so research, and these are the findings. If you want to mention this, then what is it called? It is called referencing. It is called referencing because you are giving reference of somebody who has already done research in the past. So what do? You write the name of the person and the year in which that research was conducted. And you give complete citation of that reference at the end of the paper or at the bottom of the paper. This is part of referencing. Now, why it is done? It is done because it will enable you that if somebody wants to consult that paper, they can consult your referenced paper because there is complete reference given. There are many popular standard guidelines for referencing. You can follow any guideline. Yes, can you follow any guideline? No, you cannot. Why? Because you have to follow the guideline which is required by the journal. Different journals have different requirement. Engineering journals require IEEE guideline to be followed. Humanities journals require you to follow APA, American Psychological Association guidelines. If you want to get published in IIM Ahmedabad's journal, then you have to follow IIMA guideline. Similarly, different journals have different style sheets as their guideline. So that has to be followed. These days, Microsoft Word and other softwares are very advanced. You don't have to worry. They will prepare your referencing in the order you want. These days, there are a lot of softwares available, lot of applications are available. They will prepare these referencing the way you want. So you don't have to worry. In earlier times, we had to remember that these are the steps that we have to remember. So it was a big headache in those days, but today it is not. Today you need not worry about it. These computer softwares, computer applications, they'll do all these things. You have to just read the journal, identify the journal is asking for APA guideline. Fine. You apply APA style sheet and it's done. You go through the journal and the journal says, look, you have to follow Chicago style or you have to follow IEEE style. Done. Fine. It's so simple. So quickly. And when you scroll through the journal, right, you find that journal has a particular focus. If you are writing on that theme, you should send it to journal. But if you find your focus is slightly different, then you may search another journal and send your paper in the journal which is matching. See, every journal has a focus area. Every journal is preparing itself on a particular theme. For example, EPW. EPW is a very popular, very good journal in the field of economics. Now, EPW has a focus. Focus means EPW tries to focus on those papers which are trying to bring about socialist pattern of development, which are trying to bring about equality, which are trying to bring about an equal society, which are trying to bring about egalitarian society, or which are trying to promote welfare state. These are broad areas. So EPW's focus area you have identified. Go through the papers of the EPW, and now you find you do not want to write on these themes. Your focus is different, your philosophy is different, your orientation is different. Fine. You search another journal and write for that journal, right? So identify the journal for which you can write. Okay? There is huge scope for you to innovate. You can innovate at every step. Yes, you can innovate your research methodology, you can innovate at every step. Obviously, there is a structure, but then there is a flexibility. The possibility to innovate is always there. If you use an established research method, it's easier because the questions of reliability and validity are solved here. But if you innovate, no problem. You have to, obviously, you have to develop certain parameters for judging reliability, validity, and for ensuring that if somebody asks you, how do you judge the reliability, validity here? You can answer that, look, this is how I checked reliability, validity. It is good if you use Cronbach alpha to measure reliability, but that's not the ultimate. You can develop new tools. You can develop new tools for reliability. You can develop new tools for validity measurement. Yes, you should. I would rather encourage those who develop new tools. If you develop a new tools of research, I will appreciate you. If you are doing a market research, for example, then rather than using the existing tools for market surveys, if you develop a new method for market study, I would appreciate. Oh yes, you have done something new. Yes, you should do those kinds of things. I'll just show you what I was trying to tell you. It's just an example. What is it? You can know. Instructions for authors. Before you start writing, you go through these so that the possibilities of rejections are minimum. Instructions for author, manuscript accepted, what are the rules, guidelines, ethical responsibilities of the authors, copyright, disclosures of potential conflicts of interest and funding, statement of human and animal rights, statement of informal consent, manuscript submission. All these guidelines you are expected to read before you submit your manuscript to the journal for publication. Yes, like for example, manuscripts accepted to hand. Hand is the name of a journal. Hand accepts manuscripts in the following categories. Which are the categories? Original clinical basic science research articles, comprehensive critical reviews, case reports, letters to the editor, commentary, multimedia articles. Manuscripts contain original material are accepted for consideration if neither the article nor any part of its essential substance, table, figure has or will be published or submitted elsewhere before appearing in the journal and will not be submitted elsewhere. Very clear guidelines are written. Each of these points we will discuss periodically in our classes. Peer review process, very important. You must understand these things religiously. Manuscripts are accepted for consideration on the condition that they are contributed solely to hand. No substantial part of a paper may have been published elsewhere. All work must be original to the author. Receipt of your manuscript by journal will be acknowledged through the online SAGE track site and decision regarding its status made as soon as possible. All manuscripts are subject to editorial review. Manuscripts will be initially reviewed by editor-in-chief or associate editor. Some manuscripts that are deemed inappropriate for the journal or very low priority by the editorial staff may be returned without review. If eligible for publication, the manuscript will be reviewed by 2 or more external reviewers with the final decision made by the editor-in-chief. And follows double-blind peer review where the author and reviewer identities are concealed. Means You do not know who is reviewing your paper, and reviewer doesn't know who is the author. Ethical responsibilities of the author. The journal is committed to upholding the integrity of the scientific record. As a member of the Committee on Publication Ethics, the journal will follow COPE guidelines on how to deal with potential acts of misconduct. Authors should refrain from misrepresenting research results, which could damage the trust in the journal and ultimately the entire scientific endeavor. Maintaining integrity of the research and its presentation can be achieved by following the rules of good scientific practice, which include: the manuscript has not been submitted to more than one journal. The manuscript has not been published previously. A single study is not split up into several parts to increase the quantity of submissions. No data have been fabricated or manipulated. No data, text, or theories by others are presented as if they were the author's own. Proper acknowledgement of other works must be given. Consent to submit has been received from all co-authors. Authors whose name appear on the submission have contributed sufficiently to the scientific work. They have made substantial contribution to the concept and design, acquisition of data or analysis, drafted the articles or revised it critically, approved the version to be published, agreement to be acknowledgeable, accountable for all aspects of work. Then author guideline of ICMJE must be followed. Changes of authorship or order of authors are not accepted after the acceptance of a manuscript. Request to add or delete authors at revision stage will not be considered. Upon request, authors should be prepared to send relevant documentation or data to verify the validity of the research. If there is suspicion of misconduct, the journal will carry out an investigation following the COPE guidelines. Copyright. Well, we'll discuss these points later on, but yes, we just reviewed the guidelines for an author given by a journal. We reviewed the guidelines of the author, which clearly told you that you have to write and submit original contribution. You have to write something on your own. You cannot copy paste someone's material. If you have published something, you cannot get it published again. You cannot manipulate data. You cannot present same matter for 2-3 papers. One research means one paper. All these guidelines we have tried to discuss. I'll just show you how the final stage of proofing, how does it take place. Just one more minute. See, as an author, you have to be very, very careful in submitting your content. I'll just show you proof, how proofing takes place. Yes, e-proofing. Proofs are nowadays online. Now, this is paper, Happiness and Well-being in Cities. I wrote this paper. Now there are points. Point AQ1, AQ2. If there are any mistakes anywhere, they are asking me to correct. AQ3, right? This is the paper. This is the complete paper, and at the end there are references, right? References, they have to match. If a reference is mentioned, let's say Aslam's article, and if Aslam's name is not available in the article, then I have to remove it or correct it. Similarly, if in my article I am mentioning about Aslam, but I am not able to quote, I give his reference, then that's also wrong. Like for example, here I have mentioned Morrison 2011. Now I have to give complete reference of Morrison in my reference section. If I will not do it, then I am wrong. Let's check Morrison 2011 is there or not. It's alphabetical index. Morrison 2011, it is there. You can check it. So there has to be proper careful checking that if something is mentioned, like here, I have mentioned here Aslam and Corrado 2011. Aslam and Corrado, their references must be there in referencing section. Let us see Aslam and Corrado. Yes, Aslam and Corrado is there, 2011, the geography of well-being. This has to be properly checked, right? Here I am referring, right? What I am referring, that Alcinia 2004. Now what is that I have written? I have written the inequality in income contribute to unhappiness. This view is by Alcina, but it is not copy paste. I have written it in my language. I read what Alcina had written, but I wrote it in my own language. Now this is how the reviews are written. This is how literature reviews are mentioned here. If everything is okay, then I'll say submit, and then only the paper will be published. If something is wrong, for example, some mistake is there, then they are mentioning. What is they are mentioning? They are mentioning that please provide missing cross-reference section. So I have to mention cross-reference section. So I have to mention it. If everything is okay, then I'll press submit button. And if I'll press submit, then only this paper will be published. Means my publication will start once everything is okay. If something is missing, then my paper will not be published. I wish you all become great writers.